Welcome back to the Ride Laugh Podcast. If you love mountain biking, you are in the right place. Today's episode is a short and sweet quick rip. Dan and Sage are off doing something hopefully really fun. Hopefully ripping some trails. We're going to have awesome stories for our live pods when we get back. Until then, we are keeping the stoke going and the vibes high. We got a special quick rip episode. Sage, how are you?
I'm doing good. I am doing great. Can't wait to get this one going. Let's do it.
It's weird doing the quick rip intro. I'm so used to doing the other intro.
You know,
it's like I'm riding blind here. I've been on this trail. It was probably a year ago. I don't really remember it.
Yeah. Well, listen, you are a true professional, my friend. You had a little bumble there, but you picked it right back up. Boom, you're in it. You're a podcaster.
I talked about it, and then I talked about it. You know what I mean? Like this is the equivalent of like you get down the trail and then your buddy's like, "I almost died right there. I almost died." We could do a whole episode about that. How many times do you hear "I almost died"?
Oh my God!
In mountain biking,
yeah,
you don't get that in other sports. Nobody almost dies in other sports or feels like they almost died. So that's actually not a bad idea. That's one of the things we love about it. Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Next week we're going to be talking about
how we almost
died comment. This week, we are talking about something that I experience, and I don't think that you do, but I think a lot of people could probably relate. And it's called imposter syndrome. I'm going to call it mountain bike imposter syndrome because we're going to relate this to mountain biking, of course. The actual imposter syndrome definition, if you look it up, it says the persistent internal experience of doubting one's abilities and feeling like a fraud despite evidence of success. It involves attributing accomplishment to luck rather than skill, leading to a fear of being exposed as incompetent. It's common, affecting 70 to 80% of people, often causing intense anxiety and overworking. Sounds like a lot of overthinking happening there. Guilty. Yeah.
Yes, there's a picture of your face next to that definition. Yeah,
there sure is. And saying it out loud, like saying that I have imposter syndrome, like that sounds lame. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to have imposter syndrome. I don't like the sound of that at all.
Good, because you shouldn't, because you are an amazing rider, but you do fit a lot of those categories. You give yourself a really hard time. I've seen it. Here's what will happen, Danny. We're in a group ride. We're all trying to figure out where we land, and you're always putting yourself at the back when we're doing a downhill. You're like, I don't want to slow anybody. I'm like, get your rear end up to the front of that line. You are a good rider, and you often do that to yourself.
Yeah, I do. I don't want to slow anyone down, for sure. And I guess it depends on the group too. Like out here in Arizona, the guys I'm riding with on certain trails, like I know that they're faster on these trails, or maybe I'm faster on these trails, depending on where we are, because there's a huge difference in the riding here. But I know what you're talking about. There, all the rides that we did in Pennsylvania and the Northeast, and then we meet up with a new group, and I would just kind of, let me just go in the back, and that didn't often serve me. I've noticed that there's so many good riders out here. There's like pro level riders, right? That are just out here riding. And I've met a lot of these guys and gals, and they're awesome. There's some people that are just like unbelievably good at climbing, and there's some people that are unbelievably good at downhilling, and both.
Yeah. And
it's like, I don't want to hold them up. Am I good enough to ride with them? Am I going to be embarrassed? Right? Am I worthy? And really just kind of like saying it out loud, that's the mindset that we have and that we've been cultivating this entire podcast is we are worthy. And it has nothing to do with the skill that we have on the bike. We are worthy. You're a human being. We're all equally worthy, which is, and by equally, I mean a lot. So you start there, and then it's just about having fun. And lastly, I think I tend to focus on my fails more than my success.
That you do.
And now I'm adding doubt to my mentality on riding.
Yeah.
Ride Laugh at Gmail and YouTube comments, it says 70 to 80% of people. I don't know where they came up with that number, but can you relate? Do you find yourself in this situation? Because Sage and I were talking pre-pod, and you're going to tell us right now that it's not really something that you can relate to. But let me stop filibustering and get your take.
You're right. I do not have imposter syndrome. I have the opposite of that. I have the the overconfidence syndrome, and that has bit me. And I'll certainly talk about that. But there's a few things that I know that I can rely on when I find myself in a position where I am in over my head. So I always try and get myself closer to the front of the group, primarily because I'm usually wearing a camera for my channel. So I don't want to be in the back. I want to be close to where the fastest riders are. That's where the most excitement happens. And so because of that, because I'm always trying to put myself in that situation, I've had to learn to like cope with situations where like, oh crap, I might be in over my head. And so where can I use my talents and my skills to make up for deficiencies? And some of the things that I know that I do is I know I'm a really strong pedaler. Like I'm fitness wise, there's not many people that I can't hang with. And so whenever there's a lull in the trail, if there's a saddle, where it kind of gets a little bit flat, I will put in strokes. And I'll try and get as close as I can to the back wheel of the person that's in front of me, because I know they'll put a space in, If I know that I'm better at cornering, if I know that I can, because I'm a smaller rider, I can flick my body around a little bit more. I try and again, accentuate or expand on those and get as close as I possibly can. That's where I'm getting up room. Where I'm weak might be on loose terrain, right? I know that I'm not as strong in those areas. And so, okay, well, if I know that that's happening, then I want to catch up space before I hit those areas, and so there are different things that you can do to kind of mitigate those gaps that open up.
Well, now you're not talking about imposter syndrome. You're talking about how to keep up with faster riders.
Oh yeah, you're right. Where did I go? What happened?
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Let's just start over. Today's episode is a quick rip. We're going to be talking about how to keep up with riders that are faster than you. Sage is going to have lots of tips on how to. I have no tips on how to keep up with riders that are faster than you.
Oh my Lord. Well,
I have tips on what to say when you catch up to them. I can tell you, I can give you all sorts of things to say. This really loose terrain today, or I think I got a little tread.
I almost died back
on my
there.
Tire. I almost died back there.
All right. Well, did you want to go over the mindset part of it? Because I got a lot of thoughts on the mindset part of it too. This whole self-worth thing is legit. It's legit. And I've seen you struggle with that. Literally, I've seen you struggle with that on the trail, where you have this battle.
It's been an evolution.
Yeah.
Yes, it's absolutely been an evolution, and it's something that it's happening for me. It's serving me.
Yeah.
Mountain biking is so awesome because it brings this to light. If I'm doing this kind of behavior on the bike, then I'm doing this in life as well. And we're worthy. We're worthy of having a job that we love. We're worthy of having an income that we feel good about. We're worthy of being in a relationship that's healthy. We're worthy of great friends. We're worthy of all these things, and we're worthy of feeling good on our bike. We're worthy of going out and feeling like this is a lot of fun, and I like doing it. I like doing it with people. But we get better as riders when we ride with people that are faster than us, or more, or a little bit more skilled. And I know the mountain bike community, people usually, I know when I ride with someone who's not at my skill level, and I can offer some advice and I can give some tips and I can help them on their progression journey, that feels awesome. And so the people that are, that we consider more skilled, they're not more worthy than us. They're better at mountain biking, or they're more fit. But if you're still worthy of doing that ride with them, as long as they're open to that, if you're invited, I was at an event at Halls, and there was pro level riders there. They're riding with regular people. We did a lap with Luca Cometti. Yeah. He's a pro enduro racer. I'm not worried at that time that I have to be as fast as him. Of course I'm not. But to not do a lap, we did a lap on the mine trail with him. But to not do that because I'm oh no, I would never be able to keep up. That would have been a real shame. I've been riding with Rob Drew recently, who's an incredibly talented and skilled rider, and I had imposter syndrome about riding with him because I was I don't want to hold him up, and then I rode with him enough where he's he's a really nice guy and he's open to rides. So now I'm starting to ride with Rob, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
There's so much to learn there, and he wants to be able to give back. So,
Danny, but it starts from the very, very beginning, we talked about, your confidence level for mountain biking, but let's talk about something that you are confident in. You are very confident in when you meet people, You know that you're a really good person, a good talker, right? Like you have no problem going into a room. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I'm Dan and what's going on, right? You're good at closing deals, in business. You've always been successful in business, right? What's that confidence, right? That's that confidence behind that. That's what we need to pull. Why is that not happening when you're mountain biking? Because the fact of the matter is you are a really good mountain biker. So why is your brain not making that connection? Why can you do that in a social situation, in a business situation? And why can't you do that when you're mountain biking? It's a question, I kind of know the answer. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I'm curious to hear what you think I'm going to say, but what comes to me is the fear of physical injury.
Yeah.
What comes to me are those biological markers that my brain has set where it says, you did this, you got hurt. If you do this again, you might get hurt. So let's avoid it. And then the fear kind of gets stuck in there. And I overcome that by putting the fear aside, staying present. And then when I stay present, then I unlock all the skills that I have. Now, then I start stacking wins. I'm actually really good at this. And that's, I'm not imposter. I'm present. I am good enough.
I imagine that in your life, you've probably run into one or two people, maybe more, that you weren't able to have a successful conversation with. You weren't able to win them over. I imagine in your life, there were a couple business deals that you weren't able to close. Why is it that you don't put that fail and that fault on yourself, and yet you put those other mountain bike fails on yourself, right? That's what's so interesting, right? When I fail at mountain biking, first of all, I let it go. Short-term memory is very key. But second of all, I don't say like, wow, that was all your fault. Like, I'll try and figure it out, right? Obviously, try and figure it out, but that doesn't define me as a rider going forward. I always make sure of that. I am very hard on myself. You've witnessed that. You've called me out on that, how hard I can be on myself. But at the same time, it's not what I believe in myself. I may outwardly say that, like, oh, Sage, you idiot, like you had that. But that's not how I visualize myself. And again, this goes to my anti-over imposter. I am an overachiever or a overconfident person sometimes, and that does get me in trouble. But that does help me a lot in those situations because I do have so much confidence in my ability, almost too much, and I'd love to get you there. I'd love to get you there because you are like, you can do all these things, and those injuries have a place, but they don't define you, Dan.
No, it really resonates. Ride Laugh 1 at Gmail and YouTube comments. For me, when you're like, but look how good you are at all these other things in your life, and you don't have any fear around those other things, right. So we stack wins in life and just like, oh, this is all going really well for me. And I'm really good at just being a good person, right? It's just I'm good at a lot of things. And so why not just have that same attitude with mountain biking?
Bam.
Like we're not imposters, I think it's so easy to categorize, we say, oh, this person's, I've seen them ride, they're a faster downhiller than me, or I know that person's in better shape, they're going to be a faster climber. You know what I mean? So like when we get to the trailhead with our group ride, it's just like it's so easy to kind of place that judgment on everyone. And when you're judging everyone else, you're going to judge yourself as well. And Ride and Laugh is about no judgment, letting it go. What's here for me?
And there's a time and place for that, right? We're not talking about a race here. This isn't a race where you're placing or you're trying to get some money for a prize or what. When you and I mountain bike, this is for fun. And I understand a lot of that is, I don't want to prevent someone else from having fun. But my point is that shouldn't be the thought that's in your head at the start of the trailhead. Like, I don't want to prevent these people from having fun. If that happens, look, we just pull over, right? But until that happens, until you get bested, let's think that we can hang. Let's think that we can do this. Let's think that we are really good at this. Like you and I talk about presence all the time, and it's like, that's the presence. Get yourself up there, and then if it happens in the moment that, oh crap, this person's really on my back tire, I really am in the wrong place. Okay, that's the time we pull over. And again, that says nothing about you as a rider. Actually, it does say something about you as a rider. It says, I'm a very considerate rider. It says, I'm a very considerate rider, and I know where my abilities are.
If it's happening for us, and everything is happening for us, that's the perspective we have. We're not victims, right? Things aren't happening to us, they're happening for us.
Yep.
Then maybe that's a little bit of motivator to get out and train a little bit harder, right? Maybe what's here for me, right? Or just to practice in the driveway if you want to, or ask more questions.
Yeah.
I ask a ton of questions, and if I'm riding with someone who's cool and they have skills that I would like to have, that I would like to be able to do that, I am all questions.
Yeah.
And that's going to serve you. So instead of just saying I'm not good enough to be on this ride and just miss all that, right? What's the phrase? You miss 100% of the chances you don't take.
Oh, yes.
Something like that.
Yeah,
right?
There is. Yes. I have heard that one before.
I saw the look on your face. You looked very skeptical.
I didn't know where you're going, but I trusted that you were going to bring this home.
He almost died right there. So does overconfidence get you in trouble? Like my brain is a little bit too scared to be overconfident. I feel like that might make me crash, but you're not a crash guy.
No, I'm not. And the overconfidence has done me better than it has done me bad. Like I can count on my hands the time that it's bit me in the rear end, but for the most part, I end up being able to match that ability that I thought I had, or I get better. Like, holy crap, I can't believe I almost died, like that moment, but but I lived. So yay, it's like, And there's a few instances, I remember trying to follow Patrick, when we went to Natalie, and Patrick is a pro level, right? This kid, he's a kid. Holy moly. Yeah. Next.
He's a young man.
He might be the best. He might be the best rider I've ever ridden with. Actually, he was that good. And I remember I'm a hold his wheel. And of course he wasn't railing it. Of course he wasn't going his full optimum speed, but even his like medium speed is better than my top speed and, talent, so, but I don't go into it that way. I just trusted that I could hold Patrick, that I could do this. And in that case, it worked out.
Yeah.
But you know what? I've had the opposite too. We've run into, we did a video of this on the Trail Sage channel where we ran into Evan Kinsey and Sean at a place called Glen Park, which is a place where they do enduro races. And these two guys just happened to be there. We didn't know them. We didn't know the trail system. And we're like, hey, can you show us around? I had no idea.
And they were training. They were getting ready for
the race,
the upcoming enduro race. So they weren't showing us at like casual pace. They were doing race runs.
Right. And we had no idea. We didn't know. We didn't even know there was a race, And man, I had the camera on, so I'm right on their rear end, and my goodness, I was in way over my head. That first run, I did my best to hold their wheel, and I did. And I started following them off of these features and drops that were above my ability level at that time. And I did almost die, like, oh boy. I think
Sean told us after the first run, I think Sean like leaned over and he was like, yeah, by the way, Evan won the pro class last year. Like, that information would have been helpful maybe 5 minutes ago. It's a good thing I didn't have the camera on because you guys were just gone. You know what I mean? And then I think I went to follow. You were like, I can't hold their wheel, Dan. Like you go.
I was scared the pee out of me.
And the next run, I tried hold their wheel, and they were gone. It's just gone. Yeah, just like immediately gone.
Yeah,
which is really cool to see. But we became friendly with both guys, and we started seeing Evan at Mount Penn all the time. We did a bunch of rides with him. We saw him do a bunch of features. We saw the way that he rides. First of all, like the nicest dudes, both of these guys.
Oh, so great, both of them.
So if we were like, no, these guys are too good for us to ride with, like we would have missed out on that. On being able. First of all, that day was epic because those dudes showed us like all the cool trails, and then we got like video of them like doing these huge jumps and everything. Just like, wow, see what's possible. It's awesome. And I think when you were talking about the overconfidence, when you're telling your stories about the overconfidence, I just kept thinking back to kind of a Ride and Laugh mainstay, which is the skills are in there.
Yeah.
Be confident. The skills are in there. You're a better listener Dan, Sage, we're better riders than we think we are. Yeah. For 70 to 80% of us that are overthinking this, that might have a little bit of this imposter syndrome, the skills are in there. We are better than we think we are. When we let the thoughts go and we stop we don't need the processing of the mind on the trail. Oh, what about this? Oh, that's what I need to, I need to do. And we're just riding. We're just flowing. We're centered. And all of a sudden, like you're on a gnarly trail and you're just handling it. And there might be a few I almost died moments, but you got it. Let's go in. Let's put away the imposter syndrome. When we notice those feelings, let's go, you know what? No, I got this. I can ride with whoever I want to. I can ride whatever trail I want to. And in the moment, I'm going to deal with it when it gets here. In the moment, if I'm faster than that person, if they're slower, whatever it is, my future self's got this. Man, I'm pulling out all the Ride Laugh greatest hits in this quick round.
No, hey now. Woo! Yes. No, that was, yeah. But, and we were joking about it. But, I do use a lot of those tips that I was giving earlier in this episode, of trying to accentuate the strengths that you have as a mountain biker. Know what your strengths are, and you'll be surprised. You'll surprise yourself at how well you can keep up if you can maximize those areas. Yeah. And like we talked about in this episode, know when you are over your head. I should have not tried to keep up with Evan and Sean. I should have just said, you know what, this is getting a little bit too scary. And I didn't. I learned from that experience. I didn't die. And, I learned from that, but it doesn't have to get to that point. And if someone's on your rear end, like we said, just pull over, let them pass, who knows? Or use that opportunity to be like, hey, do you mind telling me how I could get better? Ride behind me. See where I can maximize, what I'm doing on the trail.
It's all happening for us. It's all happening for us. It really that ride that you're referring to at Glen Park was a long time ago, and you were confident. You might have been overconfident, but that was also before we were really like learning how to listen to intuition. If you start getting that uncomfortable feeling in the back of your mind, then slow down, walk it. Let's ride another day. But you're going to do it like from that place of like, this is exactly what I should be doing. I'm being safe. I'm having fun. So it's a lot to balance, and mountain biking gives us these opportunities. It really does. That's one of the things that we love about mountain biking. It's such an awesome sport.
Good stuff, Danny.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. If you're still listening, you are definitely one of us. You love mountain biking. RideLaugh1@gmail and YouTube comments. Anything we talked about today. If you could resonate, any tips that you have for us or for other riders. Oh, yeah. If you've been in this situation on the overconfident side or on the underconfident side,
if we've held you up,
side. Yeah. And we'll do stories of I almost died on a different podcast. So I bet there's a zillion great stories. You know what I mean? Like your best almost died story.
Yes. Actually, on that Glen Park video, you remember
might
you
be
did
one
that
of
gap.
them. Yeah. Oh, I have many stories. Yes. That would be a great podcast topic as well. But everyone, thanks for listening. We'll be back with regular pods as soon as possible. We'll see you on the trails. Everyone have a great week and a great week of riding. Ride Laugh.
I'll see you later.